Hey y'all, welcome back, and today we'll be doing paper 2 for the May-June 2021 CAPE Economics. Let's get into it. Module 1, Models of the Macroeconomy. 1A, defining to the following terms. Disposable income. Disposable income is the income that remains to be saved or spent after compulsory deductions, for example, direct taxes. Net national income. Net national income refers to a country's income or outputs after accounting for market distortions and capital accumulation. I explain the concept of double counting. Double counting is a concept that relates to economic goods and services that are overcounted in monetary value in the GDP figures for a given year. Essentially, it occurs when different components of economic activity are not properly distinguished, causing an overestimation of the economic outputs or value. Using an example, explain the concept of marginal propensity to consume. Let's say a student receives an extra $100 as a monthly allowance increase. If the student decides to spend $80 of that $100 on buying books, eating out, and other expenses, their marginal propensity to consume is 0.8 or 80%. In this scenario, the student's MPC indicates that for every additional dollar of income received, they are likely to spend 80 cents on consumption, saving the remaining 20 cents. Part 3, the following information relates to the aggregate expenditure, AE, for an economy. We have consumption, C, which is equal to 100 plus 0.8 Y, investment, represented by an I, capital I, is equal to 300, and government spending, capital G, is equal to 60. Calculate the equilibrium level of income. AE is equal to Y. Aggregate expenditure is equal to the actual level of income. So this will give us Y is equal to C plus I plus G plus net export and minus X, which will give us a value of Y being equal to 2,300. Therefore, the equilibrium level of income in the economy is 2,300 when you do the calculations. Part C, discuss three limitations of national income accounting. National income accounting is a valuable tool for measuring a country's economic performance and getting insights into its financial health. However, it's not without its limitations. Firstly, national income accounting primarily focuses on economic activities within formal markets, disregarding a significant portion of economic activities in the informal sector and non-market spheres. These spheres include housework, voluntary services, and do-it-yourself DIY tasks. While these activities contribute to societal well-being, GDP calculations do not incorporate them. This exclusion leads to an underestimation of a nation's overall economic productivity and well-being. Secondly, national income accounting fails to provide a comprehensive picture of the quality of life or the income distribution among its citizens. GDP growth may not necessarily lead to a better living standards, education, healthcare, or human welfare. Moreover, GDP does not reveal income distribution. A country with a high GDP might still experience significant income inequality. As a result, relying solely on GDP figures may lead to policy decisions that overlook crucial social and inequality concerns. Lastly, national income accounting does not account for environmental degradation or resource depletion caused by economic activities. If a nation's GDP increases due to the exploitation of natural resources without considering the environmental costs, it could give a misleading impression of economic progress. Ignoring the negative externalities associated with economic growth can lead to unsustainable development patterns and long-term challenges impacting future generations' well-being. Module 2, Macroeconomic Policies and Problems, lists four instruments of monetary policy. Four instruments of monetary policy are open market operations, interest rates, cash reserve requirements, a ratio, and moral suasion. Part BI explains the following statements. Cigarettes are not generally considered as money. Cigarettes do not generally function as money. Implies that cigarettes do not fulfill the roles of money within an economy. Money serves as a medium of exchange, a unit of account, a standard of deferred payment, and a store of value. Cigarettes, while they might have value as a commodity, do not universally possess these qualities in the same way as traditional forms of money, such as currency or bank deposits. They lack widespread acceptance in transactions, the value can fluctuate drastically, and they are not used to measure the relative worth of goods and services. John has just graduated and is looking for a job. However, John's situation is not considered a case of cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment refers to the type of joblessness that results from fluctuations in the business cycle, particularly during economic downturns or recession. In such periods, the decreased demand for goods and services leads to lower production and business layoffs. However, since John's situation does not involve cyclical unemployment, it suggests that his lack of employment is not primarily due to broader economic conditions. Instead, it could result from his skills deprivation, a mismatch between his qualifications and the job market's requirements. But in country M, the consumer price index CPI in 2017 was 110 and in 2018 it was 120. Determine the rate of inflation across 2 years. The rate of inflation can be calculated using the formula. Inflation rates is equal to the CPI in 2018 minus the CPI in 2017 divided by the CPI in 2017 times 100. Given that the CPI in 2017 was 110 and in 2018 it was 120, we will get an inflation rate of 9.09%. Therefore, the rate of inflation across the 2 years in country M is approximately 9.1%. Part C, with the aid of a diagram representing the market for loanable funds, discuss credit notes. Loanable funds, we can see, guys, that on the y-axis, which is vertical, we have the interest rates, and on the x-axis, the horizontal line, we have the quantity of loanable funds. We have the demand curve sloping downwards and the supply curve sloping upwards, and we have the equilibrium point being quoted in M right here. Credit note is an economic phenomenon that occurs when increased government borrowing to finance budget deficits reduces the availability of loanable funds for private investments. This phenomenon finds its depiction in the market for loanable funds. Above is a theoretical framework illustrating the interplay between the supply and demand of loanable funds within an economy. Initially, the equilibrium interest rate and quantity of loanable funds, point M, coincide at the intersection of the supply and demand for loanable funds. This intersection represents a point where the economy's savings and investments are in balance. However, when the government increases its borrowing to finance budget deficits or address its national debts, it competes with private borrowers for available funds. This competition leads to heightened demand for loanable funds, causing the demand curve to shift rightward. As the demand for loanable funds increases, causing a rightward shift, the equilibrium interest rate rises, reaching point P2. As a result, there is an increase in the quantity of loanable funds exchanged in the market. However, rising interest rates can discourage private investments by increasing borrowing costs for businesses and households. This phenomenon is known as crowding out, where government borrowing displaces private investment in the economy. This reduction in private investment can lead to a potential slowdown in economic growth and productivity improvements, as fewer funds are available for businesses to invest in new projects and expansion, as illustrated by the diagram again, guys. Always make reference to the diagram. Module 3, Growth, Sustainable Development and Global Relations. 3A, identify four forms of economic integration. Four forms of economic integration are a free trade area, of course, a customs union, a common market, and an economic union. Explain the following concept: Human Development Index. The Human Development Index, HDI, is a composite measurement used to assess and compare the development levels of different countries. It takes into account three fundamental dimensions of human well-being. We have health, education, and standard of living. The HDI provides a broader perspective on a country's development than traditional economic indicators alone. It offers insights into factors contributing to citizens' overall quality of life. The index also ranges from 0 to 1, with higher values indicating higher levels of human development. And we should know that health is measured by life expectancy at birth. Education is evaluated through mean years of schooling and expected years of education. And standard of living is measured by gross national income per capita. Preferential trade agreement. A preferential trade agreement, PTA, is a trade agreement among two or more countries to reduce trade barriers for specific goods and services. Within a PTA, member countries grant preferential treatment to each other's products, providing them with better trading conditions than non-members. These agreements can stimulate increased trade and economic cooperation, thereby contributing to the growth and development of participating nations. Exchange rate depreciation. Exchange rate depreciation indicates a decrease in the value of one currency relative to another within the foreign exchange markets. Simply put, it signifies that the currency has weakened compared to others. This depreciation can arise from various factors, such as shifts in currency supply and demand, changes in economic conditions, or shifts in market sentiment. A currency depreciation means it takes more units of that currency to purchase the same amount of another, making imports more expensive and exports potentially more competitive. C. Discuss three factors responsible for globalization. Globalization, characterized by the increased interconnectedness and interdependence of economies, cultures, and societies, is driven by various factors: advancements in communication technology, the establishment of the World Trade Organization, WTO, and the process of trade liberalization have all significantly contributed to globalization. Firstly, the rapid advancement of communication technology, especially the internet and digital platforms, have revolutionized the sharing of information, ideas, and data worldwide. This technological progress have facilitated instantaneous communication and reduced the barriers of time and distance. As a result, businesses can now engage in real-time interactions, negotiations, and transactions with partners and customers in different countries. The ease of communication has enabled the effective function, I should say, of global supply chains, the outsourcing of services to distant locations, and the growth of international e-commerce. In 1995, the establishment of the WTO marked a significant stride towards promoting international trade and economic cooperation. The WTO provides a platform for member countries to negotiate and establish trade rules, resolve disputes, and facilitate trade liberalization. Its existence encourages countries to reduce tariffs, eliminate trade barriers, and ensure non-discriminatory treatment of trading partners. The WTO's rules-based system has helped create a more predictable and stable environment for international trade, providing a framework that facilitates smoother and more equitable global economic interactions. Lastly, trade liberalization refers to reducing trade barriers such as tariffs, quotas, and other restrictions that hinder the flow of goods and services across borders. Governments worldwide have recognized the benefits of opening their economies to international trade. Trade liberalization encourages competition, fosters specialization, and allows countries to benefit from comparative advantages. As trade barriers decrease, firms gain access to larger markets, consumers enjoy a wider variety of goods, and the allocation of resources become more efficient. This process promotes economic growth and development. Moreover, it has driven the expansion of global markets. And that's it for me today, guys. See you all next time.